let's pretend that you want to have a conversation with your kids about this. Somebody tell me the non-awkward way to do that. I'm ready. I'm waiting.
Text them.
That is awesome. Text him. Hey, we're going to talk about porn tonight. Because that's not awkward at all.
Well, mine the other day started with so.
Yes.
So, there's this thing.
I think the only non-awkward way is if you've been having conversations like this their whole life. And so, basically when you say, come to study, we're going to have a family powwow, and they go, oh goodness. But they know that means we're going to talk about something serious. So.
Well, and that's to Julie's point, my hope is that y'all are already doing a lot of family stuff like that, where it's a lot of family time together and you're talking, and it is awkward, but it's a part of how you do life. My other hope is that if you don't do that, that you don't walk out of here with a lot of shame. I mean, you got to start somewhere. But I will say, no matter how normal it may be for your family or not, it's always awkward. I mean, when I had to sit down with my son, and the best way at 10 that he could understand the mistakes that Dad made, there is no non-awkward way to say it. I'm not dumping the truck, but he needs to know, I'm not saying thou shalt not, because I'm better than and above that. I'm saying don't do this because this hurt me. I need to have that conversation with them. I need to ask them things like, hey, when you were at so-and-so's house, anybody show you anything? Is that awkward? Am I in trouble? Did I do something? I'm not saying that I have an elaborate plan of how to do it, except to say you just have to have the conversation. And you got to start somewhere. I find it helpful to start where I've screwed up, because it helps them see the God's grace that's covered my stuff and then transition into something. These last two, and if we have time, we'll open up for questions. You got to understand, with our culture, there's two different things going on. You got the guy over here who's finally attracted to something he wasn't attracted to before. He has unprecedented access to something he should not have unprecedented access to. And then you have the girl over here who hears it talked about and is curious, and then does not want to be left out, so she goes, and she leaves very confused and semi-angry. And then they start dating. It's jacked up. It's messed up. And so one of the things that we do to help with that, and we do this in our home, is we do media fasts. And we don't do media fasts because we think media is bad. But we do media fasts to limit the exposure of temptation. I challenge you, seriously, sit down and watch a Cowboy game and you tell me how sexually explicit or implicit commercials come on in a 3-hour football game. And as an 11, 12, 13-year-old boy, what's going through your mind? And as a 13, 14, 15-year-old girl, very worried about body image, what's going through your mind? But you know what? If you don't see it, it may not go through your mind. It still might. I mean, I believe it was Dennis Rainey used to say that a boy thinks about sex every 7 seconds and the other 6 he's lying. So it still may go through the mind, but there's not those images to latch onto. And so we do media fasts. And it's hard. I'm just saying. And we don't say y'all should do media fasts. There's a really great book called The Connected Child, and it talks about when you discipline your child, you do it together. So if we're going to rake leaves because you didn't study for the test, You're going to rake leaves, and I'm going to rake them with you. Well, that blows my Saturday. That's okay. The other thing is a 30-minute escape plan. This is the brain science portion I want to talk about, and then y'all can ask questions. I meant for this to be more interactive, and I just kept talking to you. If you could, and I'm going to draw this on the board because I don't know another way to do it. It probably won't transfer well on video. Anybody have dogs? You got a dog, raise your hand. Anybody have a lab? Raise your hand. Okay, does anybody's lab run circles in their backyard? Okay? Alright, so anybody a yard guy really likes keeping a pristine yard? Anybody? Thank you, Phil. Appreciate that. Nobody else seems to care except me. Thank you, Ron. Saw that.
I like doing it, but I have a dog, so I gave that up a long time ago.
So Frank, to your point, our yellow lab could do this in the backyard all day long. And then I go out with the mower and I try to mow perfectly and even lower the setting to try to get to where she's gotten, and no matter how bad I try, this never goes away. Does that make sense? You tracking with me? What if that was your kid's brain? What if what's going on in the brain of an adolescent is that they are learning about this reward system of the brain called dopamine? And so when they make the A on the test, the brain releases a chemical to say, that's good. And so then they want more of that. Or when they work hard in off-season and see it pay off on the field of the court, the brain rewards that. And you say, oh, that's good. But you understand, the brain, in terms of this release of chemical, has no moral compass. So if I happen to go to a porn site, and I'm excited by it, you know what happens in my brain? Dopamine is released. And the brain records a reward. But it doesn't just record that. It records the environment I was in when it happened. It records the emotion I was feeling when it happened. And so what happens to most of the students that I talk to about this issue, or even the young men and men I talk to about this issue, is, well, I got really angry at my dad, and I couldn't deal with it, and so I went and looked at porn. I don't really know why I did that, but that's what I did. Or I was really sad about this experience I had, and then I went and looked at porn, and I don't know why I did that, because I knew it was wrong, but that's what I did. Are you following me? Do you know how long it takes to reset that? You're going to get depressed. Guess.
10 years.
Not that long. Praise God. Come on, throw out numbers.
6 months.
Longer.
3 years.
Shorter.
2.
Shorter. Shorter.
1 year.
Right at you. Now watch this. 12 months of sobriety. So, you want to know why when tools, God bless them, say to our men and young men and women and young women, we can get you free in 30 days. It takes 28 days to break a habit. It does not take 28 days to reset how you have trained your brain to respond. So when we say to our sons, why can't you just have more self-control? All they feel is shame. When I tell you, please hear me, when I tell you they can't stop, they can't stop. You would not walk up to a cocaine addict and say, just stop. Stop snorting. You would put them in rehab, where they would learn how to do this. Brain science shows, and Michael's book that Charlie's talking about attests to it, that internet porn has the same impact on the brain as cocaine or heroin, and some statistics say it's worse. And so to Phil's point, we hand our sons and daughters with great intention phones. I'm not saying not to do that, but what do we do in terms of boundaries with that. I will tell you, because you're looking at a paranoid father, our kids share one phone with no internet access, and they text and can call on it. That's our 4 oldest kids in one phone. And they think we're weird. And you know what? They're right. They said to me, Dad, are we weird? Yes? Yes, we are. You okay with that? No? Sorry. I'm not telling you to do that unless God tells you to do that. Now, what's this whole 30-minute plan? And then I'm done. Y'all can ask questions. Do you know how long it takes to calm down those neurochemicals in your brain that are sending those signals to you about how you got to have this or you're going to die? I'll give you a hint. It's on your paper. 30 minutes. 20 to 30 minutes. And so Romans 12:2 never became more real for me than this moment. Do not be conformed any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So what if I have a student who says to me, every time I'm stressed, I want to go to this? Well, you know what I want to teach him? Every time he's stressed, how to run to Jesus for 30 minutes. And to spend time in the Word, and to spend time in prayer, and to spend time listening to Mount Redmond, or to spend time listening to his pastor's sermon. And by the way, especially I think it's true for all of us, but especially adolescents, if you add exercise to this, you get blood flow, endorphin release, and better ability to reason. So our main goal is teaching students how to run to Jesus for that 30 minutes. And so what I tell them, 30 minutes at a time for 12 months, and you're free.